Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahans Parivacharya Astotarasta Shish Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahans Parivacharya Astotarasta Shish Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवास आदि गौर भक्तों की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोधाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, मायापुर नदी धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी की जय, गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय, समवेत भक्तों की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Jai, Jai, Jai. Thank you so much, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. And thank you, Mukesh Prabhu, for our kirtan tonight. And welcome to everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami and friends. Tonight is Friday, August 25th, 2023. And we're reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 22nd chapter, starting tonight with verse number 20. This is the marriage of Devahuti and Kardama Muni. And we're so much looking forward to hearing your participation in the form of reading and commenting. And we're glad you could again be with us, Maharaj. Thank you so much. And Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, and verse number 22. Is it? Yes. That's what Maharaj said.
20. 3:22, 20.
Oh, 20, okay. Okay. At 20 we finished. That's what my note says.
Yes,
Because 21.
21, yes. Maitreya uvacha sa ugra dhanva niyat deva vavashe asicha tushnim arvindama nabham diyopa gruhana smita shobhitena mukhena cheto lulube deva kutya. Sri Maitreya said, O great warrior Vidura, the sage Kardama said this much only and then became silent, thinking of his worshipable Lord Vishnu, who has a lotus on his navel. As he silently smiled, his face captured the mind of Devahuti, who began to meditate upon the great sage. Purport. It appears that Kardamuni was fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness because as soon as he became silent, he at once began to think of Lord Vishnu. This is the way of Krishna consciousness. Pure devotees are so absorbed in thoughts of Krishna that they have no other engagement. Although they may seem to think or act otherwise, they are always thinking of Krishna. The smile of such Krishna conscious person is so attractive that simply by smiling, he wins so many admirers, disciples, and followers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramritam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishatam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Surbhi Kunji, you can keep eye on chat box.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Ekendra Prabhu has made a comment which says, makes one think of Srila Prabhupada and his attractive smile.
Yes. Yeah, smile is very important. That attracts everybody.
Oh, and
Okay.
Ekendra Prabhu said, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. O fierce warrior Vidura, just as a warrior like you does not turn from battle, Kardama does not turn from the dharma recommended by the Lord. The mind of Kardama became attracted by the smiling face of Devahuti. From this it is understood the Manu and his wife did not feel regret, lamenting that they had given their daughter to a renounced person.
Interesting. Anything else? Okay, number 22. Sonu Gnatva Rasa Sitam Mahishya Duhita Sutam Tasmai Guna Ganadhyaya Dadau Tulyam Prahashitaha. After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen as well as that of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtue was equal by hers. Subhimata, you want to go ahead? Number 23.
Satarupa Maharagni Paribarhan Mahadanan Dampatyo Paryadat Pritya Usavasa Parichadan. Empress Satarupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, in dowry to the bride and bridegroom. Purport. The custom of giving one's daughter in charity with a dowry is still current in India. The gifts are given according to the position of the father of the bride. Paribarhan Mahadanan means the dowry which must be awarded to the bridegroom at the time of marriage. Here Mahadanan means greatly valuable gifts befitting the dowry of an empress. The words Bhusavasha, Parichadan also appear here. Bhusa means ornaments, Vasa means clothing, and Parichadan means various household articles. All things befitting the marriage ceremony of an emperor's daughter were awarded to Kardama Muni, who was until now observing celibacy as a brahmachari. The bride, Devahuti, was very richly dressed with ornaments and clothing. In this way, Kardama Muni was married with full opulence to a qualified wife and was endowed with the necessary paraphernalia for household life. In the Vedic way of marriage, such dowry is still given to the bridegroom by the father of the bride. Even in poverty-stricken India, there are marriages where hundreds and thousands of rupees are spent for a dowry. The dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill, and it is compulsory. In rare cases where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, it is enjoined that he must at least give a fruit and a flower. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, God can also be pleased even by a fruit and a flower. When there is financial inability and no question of accumulating a dowry by another means, one can give a fruit and flower for the satisfaction of the bridegroom.
Very nice. Stay straightforward. The emperor gave lots of clothing and so many jewelry for the marriage.
Ekendra Prabhu comments, going back to verse 21, we're seeing Kardama Muni smiling, appreciating how the Lord reciprocated with his desire. And Ananta Shesh Prabhu says, it is illegal in India to give and ask for dowry due to the high female infanticide in India.
I think people are taking advantage of these things. So I guess, yes, you may be right here. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go number 24. I'll do this. Patram duhitaram samrat yadakshaya gatavyatha upaguhya cha bahyubhyam o tyakto niti tashayah. Thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhu Manu, his mind agitated by feeling of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. A father always remains in anxiety until he can hand over his grown-up daughter to a suitable boy. A father and mother's responsibility for children continues until they marry them to a suitable spouse. When the father is able to perform that duty, he is relieved of his responsibility. And it is a great responsibility also to marry the daughter to a suitable person. And that is called Kanyadan. Okay. Mukesh Prabhu?
Ashaknuvam tadvirham murichan bhaspa kalam muhu ashin chad amba vatseti natrodaer duhitu shikha. The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore, tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter." Purport. The word Amba is significant. A father sometimes addresses his daughter in affection as mother, and sometimes as my darling. The feeling of separation occurs because until the daughter is married, she remains the daughter of the father. But after her marriage, she is no longer claimed as a daughter in the family. She must go to the husband's house. For after marriage, she becomes the property of the husband. According to Manu Samhita, a woman is never independent. She must remain the property of the father while she is not married, and she must remain the property of the husband until she is elderly and has grown up children of her own. In old age, when the husband has taken sannyas and left home, she remains the property of the sons. A woman is always dependent, either upon the father, husband, or elderly sons. That will be exhibited in the life of Devahuti. Devahuti's father handed over responsibility for her to the husband Kardama Muni, and in the same way, Kardama Muni also left home, giving the responsibility to his son Kapil Dev. This narration will describe these events one after another.
Nice. Okay. Any question?
There's a few more comments in the chat from Ananta Shesh Prabhu about the dowry system. He said, although the dowry system still prevails under the radar, and there are so many tragedies that are happening in India because of the dowry system, which is a degraded version, like the degradation of caste system. And Tulsi Priya Mataji says, I'm wondering why Srila Prabhupada used the word property as opposed to responsibility. Property usually refers to inanimate objects and livestock, not human beings. I'm now wondering what property means.
Yeah, we cannot judge anything right now. Whatever Prabhupada said, that's fine. Okay, next one. Tulsi Priya Mataji.
Oh, Maharaj says property is responsibility also.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Text number 26.
Yes, 26, 27, yes.
Amantriyatam muni vradam anugyata sahanuga ratashte ratam aruhya sabharya swapuram nripa ubhayorishikulyaya saraswatya suro daso rishinam upasantanam Pashyan Ashrama Sampada. Translation. After asking and obtaining the great sage's permission to leave, the monarch mounted his chariot with his wife and started for his capital, followed by his retinue. Along the way, he saw the prosperity of the tranquil seer's beautiful hermitages on both the charming banks of the Saraswati, the river so agreeable to saintly persons. Purport. As cities are constructed in the modern age with great engineering and architectural craftsmanship, so in days gone by there were neighborhoods called Rishikulas, where great saintly persons resided. In India, there are still many magnificent places for spiritual understanding. There are many rishis and saintly persons living in nice cottages on the banks of the Ganges and Yamuna for purposes of spiritual cultivation. While passing through the Rishikulas, the king and his party were very much satisfied with the beauty of the cottages and hermitages. It is stated here, Pashyan Ashrama Sampada. The great sages had no skyscrapers, but the hermitages were so beautiful that the king was very much pleased at the sight. This reminds me of when I went to the Govardhan Eco Village and the buildings were constructed of earth, and I even shot video of them. It was still under construction and they were making the bricks out of earth. And apparently there was a problem with some employees, so they had fired a bunch of people and brahmacharis themselves were constructing earth bricks. But I remember going into one of the buildings and just instantly, there was such a feeling of peacefulness being in this earthen building, which I'd never really been in one before. I guess you could say a concrete building is earthen, but it's not quite the same thing. And there's definitely some kind of energetic difference. So I don't know what kind of hermitages these were, but I'm assuming they were built of earth or wood, like felled trees, or I'm not sure what, but I'm sure it was, if the buildings at the Eco Village were any indication, these must have been quite peaceful to be, quite a nice environment to be in.
Good. Let's go number 28, Venkatesh Prabhu.
Sorry, there was just a comment from Maharaj in the chat about Tulsi Priya Mataji's question. It said, according to trust law, the corpus of the trust is the property of the trustees, but it's not for their enjoyment.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Venkatesh.
Praj, I need some more time.
Sure, you need some more time? Okay. Let's see who else we have. Murari Gupta, Prabhu, if it's possible.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, it's not possible.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
please.
fine. Just trying. Thank you.
I
Okay,
can
I'll
read
go ahead myself.
if you want.
Yeah, please go ahead. Oh, yes, Gurudas Prabhu, Haribo. I didn't see you.
Sure, you can read.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gurudas Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was just lining everything up here. My obeisances to Maharaj and to all the devotees. Tamayantam abhipritya brahmavartat prajapatim Gita samstuti vadi trai pratyudiyu praharshitaha. Translation. Overjoyed to know of his arrival, his subjects came forth from Brahmavarta to greet their returning Lord with songs, prayers, and musical instruments. Purport. It is the custom of the citizens of a kingdom's capital to receive the king when he returns from a tour. There is a similar description when Krishna returned to Dwarka after the Battle of Kurukshetra. At that time, he was received by all classes of citizens at the gate of the city. Formerly, capital cities were surrounded by walls, and there were different gates for regular entrance. Even in Delhi today, there are old gates, and some other old city have such gates where citizens would gather to receive the king. Here also, the citizens of Barhishmati, the capital of Brahmavarta, the kingdom of Svayambhuva, came nicely dressed to receive the emperor with decorations and musical instruments.
Okay. So people came out and greeted the king. Okay, Venkatesh, you ready?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Tulsi Priya Mataji said she wants to chime in a bit more on property.
Thank you. I did a quick lookup of the etymology of property, and of course, there's a lot talking about possessions, but one of the meanings, it said one's own, special. So we refer to our family members as my child, my son, my daughter. So in that sense, it's one's own and special, of course. So I think what Maharaj was saying about having a trust, you can possess something, but maybe not be responsible for it. But when you have a relation of something with trust, as he was saying, it's property, it's your own, it's you have a responsibility for it, just as anyways, I just wanted to mention that also, but because I like the meaning one's own, special. So we are all, in one sense, we're all properties of each other in our relationships.
Okay, Venkatesh, when you're ready.
Mataji, I like what you were saying. It reminds me that devotee has similar proprietary feelings in relationship to the Lord. In terms of, we're talking about a pure devotee. Now, someone who thinks of the Lord as his property, very, very advanced state. And the Lord similarly, I'm speaking way over my head here, but the Lord says like that in the Gita, one who's always, I think I'm always absorbed in serving him.
Gurudas Prabhu, you want to go ahead? Next verse, 29, 30.
Sure. 29 and 30.
Yeah.
Paryasmati nama purvi sarva sampat samandita nyapatan yatra yomani yagya sangam bidhun bata ushaka shastadevasyan sashvat darita varchasa vishayo yai parabhavya jagyagyan jagyam ijire. Translation. The city of Barhishmati, rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped there from his body when he was manifesting himself as Lord Boar. As he shook his body, this very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass and kasha, another kind of grass used for mats, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demons who had interfered with the performance of their sacrifices. Purport. Any place directly connected with the Supreme Lord is called Pitastana, or Hishmati, the capital of Swayambhuva Manu, was exalted not because the city was very rich in wealth and opulence, but because the hairs of Lord Varaha fell at this very spot. These hairs of the Lord later grew as green grass, and the sages used to worship the Lord with that grass after the time when the Lord killed the demon Hiranyaksha. Jagya means Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, karma is described as Jagyarta. Jagyarta karma means work done only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. If something is done for sense gratification or any other purpose, it will be binding upon the worker. If one wants to be freed from the reaction of his work, he must perform everything for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Jagya. In the capital of Swayambhuva Manu, Barhishmati, these particular functions were being performed by the great sages and saintly persons. Wonderful.
So, yeah, it always reminds us that we have to do work for Krishna. Yagnarthat anya yagnarthat anyatra karma bandhana. Otherwise, it becomes karma bandhana. I was wondering where this Brahishmati city is located. Maybe Maharaj can give us some. No. Okay. Anyway, so this is very instructive. We have to do work for Krishna, yagna artha yagna for Vishnu. Okay, number 31. Next.
For comments in the chat.
Prabhu, is the comment from Praveen Krishna Prabhu Taye, Atmaramaya Shantaya, Kevaya Pataya Namaha. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists. And Mukesh Prabhu says, this reminds me of Bhagavad Gita. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth.
Yeah, kushagrass. Ample of them. So, all right, Venkatesh Prabhu.
Is it text 31?
Yeah, 31st, right.
Yes. Kushakas samayam bahir astirya bhagavan manu ayajad yajna purusham labda sthanam yato bhuvam. Translation. Manu spread a seat of kushas and kashas and worshipped the Lord, the personality of Godhead, by whose grace he had obtained the rule of the terrestrial globe. Purport. Manu is the father of mankind, and therefore from Manu comes the word man, or in Sanskrit, Manushya. Those who are in a better position in the world, having sufficient wealth, should especially take lessons from Manu, who acknowledged his kingdom and opulence to be gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus always engaged in devotional service. Similarly, the descendants of Manu or human beings, especially those who are situated in a well-to-do condition, must consider that whatever riches they have are gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those riches should be utilized for the service of the Lord in sacrifices performed to please Him. That is a way of utilizing wealth and opulence. No one can achieve wealth, opulence, good birth, a beautiful body, or nice education without the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, those who are in possession of such valuable facilities must acknowledge their gratefulness to the Lord by worshipping Him and offering what they have received from Him. When such acknowledgement is given, either by a family, nation, or society, their abode becomes almost like Vaikuntha, and it becomes free from the operation of the threefold miseries of this material world. In the modern age, the mission of Krishna consciousness is for everyone to acknowledge the supremacy of Lord Krishna. Whatever one has in his possession must be considered a gift by the grace of the Lord. Everyone, therefore, should engage in devotional service through Krishna consciousness. If one wants to be happy and peaceful in his position, either as a householder or citizen or member of human society, one must promote devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord.
So, what do you think?
Yes, here Manu, as such, he considered worshipping the Lord as his prime duty, or as a sign of gratitude. He wanted to show that whatever I have, this great responsibility of ruling the globe, it is your grace, Lord, my Lord. So he wanted to just express that in the form of devotional service. And Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that, and that is what every human being should do, especially those who have some opulence with them in the form of good birth, beautiful body, nice education, because all of them are by the mercy of the Lord only. And the Prabhupada also mentions that if such acknowledgement is given, their abode almost becomes like Vaikuntha, and it will be free from the operation of threefold miseries of the material world. And that is the mission of Krishna conscious movement, that we try to have everyone acknowledge the supremacy of the Lord and engage in devotional service. So then it can lead to happiness and a peaceful society. So yeah, I think it's very nicely put together by Prabhupada, that when we acknowledge Krishna's mercy on us, we will be very happy.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
All right, we go for next.
Ananta Sheikh Prabhu has a question. Which Manu is the Mahajan?
I think it's Swayambhu Manu. Yes. Okay. Tulsi Priya Mataji, you want to read next one, please? That's number 32.
32. Barhishmatim nama vibhur yam nivirshya samavasat tasyang pravishto bhavanam tapatraya vinashanam. Having entered the city of Barhishmati, in which he had previously lived, Manu entered his palace, which was filled with an atmosphere that eradicated the three miseries of material existence. Purport: the material world, or material existential life, is filled with threefold miseries: miseries pertaining to the body and mind, miseries pertaining to natural disturbances, and miseries inflicted by other living entities. Human society is meant to create a spiritual atmosphere by spreading the spirit of Krishna consciousness. The miseries of material existence cannot affect the status of Krishna consciousness. It is not that the miseries of the material world completely vanish when one takes to Krishna consciousness, but for one who is Krishna conscious, the miseries of material existence have no effect. We cannot stop the miseries of the material atmosphere, but Krishna consciousness is the antiseptic method to protect us from being affected by the miseries of material existence. For a Krishna conscious person, both living in heaven and living in hell are equal. How Swayambhuva Manu created an atmosphere wherein he was not affected by material miseries is explained in the following verses. So that seems pretty definitive, that the material miseries don't disappear, but they have no effect.
That's right.
So they might as well not exist.
Or minimal effect, yes.
I just wanted to mention something. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might have been Yoganananda Mataji who once told me that she went to a funeral for a family member. And when she was there, you know, everybody was lamenting and not very happy. And she said people kept wanting to talk to her and her husband, you know, because they were bewildered by the loss of this family member. And I thought that's very common, you know, devotees, they start practicing Krishna consciousness and family members, they're not interested, you know. I was like, you know, keep your religious beliefs to yourself. But then when something happens, something that is a misery, then they ask the devotee family member, oh, you know, I don't understand why this happened. You know, what does your religion say about it? So it's interesting. So in one sense, yes, it's a family member may pass away and we're sad about it, but a devotee is not affected in the same way as a non-devotee family member, and they're all bewildered and suffering like anything. And that not being affected allows you to be a source of strength and knowledge for people who are suffering.
Yes. Okay, Surbi Mataji, so we have something in the chat box.
Yes, Gurudas Prabhu says, Hare Krishna, it occurs that this is exactly the reason the acharyas recommend constant hearing and chanting of Bhagavatam and similar literatures. By the trick of Maya, the materialist becomes so absorbed in attachment to feelings of proprietorship, it becomes very difficult to surrender to the Lord's supremacy.
Yes, very true. Always remind us ourselves, chant, read, worship. Yes, thank you.
And Mukesh Prabhu says, from yesterday's Adi Leela verse, I recall that the Sankirtan movement is direct pastime of the Lord. So Lord resides where his pastimes is performed by him. So when Srila Prabhupada mentions When such acknowledgement is given either by a family, nation, or society, their abode becomes almost like Vaikuntha, and it becomes free from the operation of the threefold miseries of this material world. So the Sankirtan movement, happily taken by a particular place, is like Vaikuntha. People serve in their original constitutional position, servants of the Lord.
Sankirtan Yagna ki jai. All right, let's go ahead. I think this is a long purport. Maybe two people can read. And I would say, Mukesh Prabhu, you can start.
It's 32, right?
Yes.
Barhishmatim nama vipur yam
No, the
nirvish.
33, sorry. Number 33.
Subharya sapraja kaman bhubujje nya virodata sangyamana satkirti shastri bhi surgai gai pratir usse anubadhena rita shravan hare kata. Translation. Emperor Swayambhu Manu enjoyed life with his wife and subjects and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by unwanted principles contrary to the process of religion. Celestial musicians and their wives sang in chorus about the pure reputation of the emperor. And early in the morning, every day, he used to listen to the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead with a loving heart. Purport. Human society is actually meant for realization of perfection in Krishna consciousness. There is no restriction against living with a wife and children, but life should be so conducted that one may not go against the principles of religion, economic development, regulated sense enjoyment, and ultimately liberation from material existence. The Vedic principles are designed in such a way that the conditioned souls who have come to this material existence may be guided in fulfilling their material desires and at the same time be liberated and go back to Godhead, back home. It is understood that Emperor Swayambhu Manu enjoyed his household life by following these principles. It is stated here that early in the morning there were musicians who used to sing with musical instruments about the glories of the Lord, and the emperor, with his family, personally used to hear about the pastimes of Supreme Person. This custom is still prevalent in India in some of the royal families and temples. Professional musicians sing with sahanais and shahnais, and the sleeping members of the house gradually get up from their bed in pleasing atmosphere. During bedtime, also the singers sing songs in relationship with the pastimes of the Lord, with Shahnai accompaniment, and the householders gradually fall asleep, remembering the glories of the Lord. In every house, in addition to the singing program, there is an arrangement for Bhagavatam lectures in the evening. Family members sit down, hold Hare Krishna Kirtan, hear narrations from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and enjoy music before going to bed. The atmosphere created by the Sankirtan movement lives in their heart, and while sleeping, they also dream of the singing and glorifications of the Lord. In such a way, perfection of Krishna consciousness can be attained. This practice is very old, as learned from the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam millions of years ago. Swayambhu Manu used to avail himself of this opportunity to live householder life in the peace and prosperity of a Krishna consciousness atmosphere. As
All
far
right.
as temples, okay.
Yeah, you can describe something and then somebody else can read it.
So Prabhupada mentions here that Krishna consciousness was a very much intrinsic and a spontaneous part of the life, and not like forced upon anyone, because it was naturally part of Vedic ancient civilization, where the Lord was the center of every household.
Maharaj says, such a wonderful description of Krishna conscious daily life.
Yes. At least we can hear some Krishna conscious music or Hare Krishna mantra at night and go to sleep. At least we can do that. All right, Shubhi Mata, is somebody else in there? Chat box.
Yes, Ananta Shesh Prabhu says there was a famous king in Kerala called Swati Thirunal, who was a great devotee of Krishna and was a famous composer of Krishna songs.
I would request Venkatesh Prabhu, continue the purport.
Is it from the paragraph which starts with as far as temples are concerned?
That's right, yeah. Please go ahead.
As far as temples are concerned, in each and every royal palace or rich man's house, inevitably there is a nice temple, and the members of the household rise early in the morning and go to the temple to see the Mangal Artik ceremony. The Mangal Artik ceremony is the first worship of the morning. In the Arti ceremony, a light is offered in circles before the deities, as are a conch shell and flowers and a fan. The Lord is supposed to rise early in the morning and take some light refreshment and give audience to the devotees. The devotees then go back to the Lord, back to the house, or sing the glories of the Lord in the temple. The early morning ceremony still takes place in Indian temples and palaces. Temples are meant for the assembly of the general public. Temples within palaces are especially for the royal families. But in many of these palace temples, the public is also allowed to visit. The temple of the king of Jaipur is situated within the palace, but the public is allowed to assemble. If one goes there, he will see that the temple is always crowded with at least 500 devotees. After the Mangalarti ceremony, they sit down together and sing the glories of the Lord with musical instruments and thus enjoy life. Temple worship by the royal family is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, where it is stated that those who fail to achieve success in Bhakti Yoga principle within one life are given chance to take birth in the next life in a family of rich men, or in a royal family, or family of learned brahmanas or devotees. If one gets the opportunity to take birth in these families, he can achieve the facilities of Krishna conscious atmosphere without difficulty. A child born in that Krishna atmosphere is sure to develop Krishna consciousness. The perfection which he failed to attain in his last life is again offered in this life, and he can make himself perfect without fail. So, Prabhupada is talking about the integral part of temples in life of any person in Vedic culture. So the temple worship begins with Mangal Arati ceremony in the morning, where devotees assemble to see the Lord for the first time in their day. They begin their day with the first darshan in the morning, and then in that worship they offer lamb in circles and conch shell flowers fan, as we know in deity worship in our temples also. We use these articles. And also some bhoga is offered to the Lord in our temple. I think we call it as Mangal Bhog. So then after that, devotees have that impression in their mind and they can carry out their whole day. Here it's said that they go back to their house and then sing the glories of the Lord in the temple. So it is also there, and particularly the example is given of Jaipur Palace. Right, currently, as far as I know, there is Radha Govind Dev temple where many devotees assemble in the morning. It's open for public also. So there, many all the devotees but there can be two types of temples. One is the public one, and the royal ones, which are meant for the royal families. Yes, and it's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that if a person fails to achieve the perfection in one life, when that person got the opportunity, the person is given another opportunity in the next life. Sushinam Shimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Sanjaya. So in that case, he gets that opportunity from the beginning in the next life, so that there is a confirmed chance that he will be Krishna conscious, and that perfection can be attained without fail in the next life. So it's an amazing opportunity that one gets to continue Bhakti Yoga, but not possible in any other way. For example, if you have opulence in this life, it may not go to the next life. If you are educated in this life, that may not go to next life. But Krishna consciousness is an eternal asset. So it's something which we can develop in this life and cherish for the rest of eternity.
Yes. And our ISKCON temples all over the world, they are giving so much opportunity for people in general. They come and visit anytime, especially they come in Vrindavan, Mangala Arati. My God, it's so many people there. So people are taking advantage. So Mukesh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Like here, it was mentioned that the kingly state of Jaipur. So like that reminds me of my great grandfather. Like during that time, like the worship of the Lord in the form of Krishna was so prevalent during his time that it was very spontaneous for everyone to worship the Lord. And also during the marriage ceremonies and all the festivals, like the center was Krishna. So like my great grandfather, he like people used to call him Thakur Shivnath Singh. So there were rulers and there were Raja Rishis where the religion was so much easily and spontaneously a part of Vedic Indian culture that like the people never really thought that like they have to be a part of institution to practice religion. It was a very intrinsic part of their culture. And also the last point where Prabhupada mentions that Suchitam Srimatam Gehe. So the people who are born where they have a favorable atmosphere for their spiritual progress. So like they have practiced this Krishna consciousness in their past life. So like I think that like most of the people in India who are very much in a close vicinity where they have good facilities to make progress in spirituality have practiced religion in some of their past lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Yes. Tulsi Priya Mata, you want to read your comment?
Yes, what Gurudas Prabhu was saying before reminded me of other things that I had read, so I did a quick search. Narottam Das Thakur says, Dana Mora Nityananda Radha Krishna Sri Charana, Se Mora Pranadana. My real riches are Nityananda Prabhu and the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. He further prays, O Lord, kindly give me this opulence. I do not want anything but your lotus feet as my property. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in many places that his real property is the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Unfortunately, we are interested in unreal property and are neglecting our real property. Adhane yatana kari dhana teyagino. Excerpt from Adilila, chapter 13, text 124, purport.
And Venkatesh Prabhu said,
Venkatesh Prabhu says, regarding Sanai in the purport, here in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada started a custom of playing Sanai in the morning. Nowadays, it is a Sanai recording that is played from Srila Prabhupada's Pushpa Samadhi at 5 a.m.
Interesting. So spell Shana, yes. Okay, we are getting at the end. I will request Guru Das Prabhu, please lead the kirtan. Yes, are you ready, Prabhu? Guru Das Prabhu? You're muted. You're still muted.
Sorry, everybody. Text
Sorry.
34. Nishnatam Yogamayasu Munim.
Yeah, I think we are at the end of the time, so you can start the kirtan.
Me start the kirtan?
He would like you to lead the closing kirtan, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripacharya Astottarasta Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripacharya Astottarasta Srimad Siddhant Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोधाम की जय. वृंदावन धाम की जय. मथुरा धाम की जय. मायापुर नदी धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय. तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Where is our Ekendra Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Srimad
Hare
Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayadvaita Maharaj and friends ki jai.
Mukesh Prabhu on his birthday, Ki Jai. All
Yo.
blessings from all the devotees.
Nice, nice.
Hare.
Hare Krishna to you. To you.
What did we hear? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
Yeah,
Kripasindhubhya evacha, Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
nice. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.